Welcome, everyone, to the Cardano Effect Podcast, episode 64. The purpose of this podcast is to take high-level developer information and projects that are occurring within this Cardano space and break them down into bite-sized, consumable pieces of information for everyday use. I'm your host, Philippe, and let's get this podcast started. The hosts of the Cardano Effect Podcast today are Rick and myself, and we have very special guests today, which we'll be announcing very shortly. I want to remind everyone that I receive a lot of questions about what people can do to further the Cardano ecosystem, to advance the project. How can the community contribute? And if you're not subscribed to the Cardano Effect podcast right now, please consider subscribing. It boosts our SEO and allows more and more people to come and visit and view and watch and listen to our podcast week after week. We take feedback, both negative and positive, and we try to improve every single podcast. So without further ado, I want to give our financial disclaimer. None of what we say on this podcast is financial advice. Remember, you are your best financial advisor. And if you don't think you are, you need to find someone who's qualified to do so. So without further ado, Rick, how are you doing this morning? What's going on? What's happening?
Hi, Philippe. Hey, I'm glad to have everybody here. It's a great morning, and I would like to give a shout out to IOHK for sponsoring this podcast. Thank you very much, IOHK, for helping make this possible. We very much appreciate it. And I would also like to remind any new viewers to the podcast that the podcast is available on all audio streaming apps such as iHeart, Google Play, Deezer, and more to come. We've got one more big one to hit, but we are on all 10 major streaming platforms. So today we're very fortunate to have the stake pool operators here with us. And what we're going to do is they're going to answer community questions. We've collected up questions from the community, things that are very often asked. And as our resident experts, they're going to help answer those questions. So I would like to thank everyone for being here today. We have Kyle, Eystein, Chris, and also returning to the podcast is Mark. So guys, if we could start with Kyle, I'd like to just go around the room and tell us what's your name, a little bit about yourself, what's the name of your pool, and what's the primary goals of your pool. Then we'll get right into the community questions. Kyle, you want to lead us off?
Sure, yeah. My name's Kyle Solomon. I run the Adafrog pool, website adafrog.io, and, our primary goal is more or less to just serve as a pillar to Cardano's decentralization, along with our other fellow stake pool operators. Charles kind of hit me pretty hard with a quote, basically saying the point of cryptocurrencies is to get us to a society where our freedom of association, thought, commerce, and expression are all guaranteed by open infrastructure. And that really hit home. And that's, we believe in that future. And, as all together, I think you guys all share that ethos as well. And so I'm proud to be a part of this kind of historic initiative.
Excellent. Wise words, Kyle. Thank you. And next we have Eystein returning. And Eystein, how's it going?
Hi, thanks, Rick. Wow, as Kyle says, just here also to contribute to decentralization. My name is Eystein Hansen. My pool is Ada North Pool. And yeah, that's pretty much a summary.
Awesome. Thank you. And moving along to Chris. Chris, tell us, what's your name? How do I pronounce your last name? And what's the name of your pool? And what's your goals there?
Yes, Graffagnino. Chris Graffagnino. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. And the name of my stake pool is Master Stake. The ticker is MAST. And I guess my number one goal is to build the community. I have a guide that a lot of people have been using to get their nodes up and running. And I was even this morning working on a guide, how to register your metadata to get it listed. That seems to be a point of friction in the community right now. So that's really what's been driving me is, at the end of the day, I believe everybody should be able to run their own node. If they're committed to learning how to do that. And I don't make any presumptions about skill level, expertise. I want to start from square one. And, if people along the way decide that, maybe it's not worth, the maintenance and keeping up with it, I'd like to be at the top of the list for people to delegate their ADA to.
Excellent. And thank you for the guides. I'm going to need the metadata one because I've screwed that up a couple times. So, and thank you, Chris. And Mark, thank you for returning to the podcast. Tell us a little about yourself, your pool, and what are your goals?
Okay, so my name is Mark, and the name of my pool is Better Late Than Never. And I see blockchain as a technology that can either lead to a liberation or greater oppression. And I am for the liberation, so I feel as responsible to be part of the community and operate the infrastructure that will be required for the technology to really take off and provide the benefits that I outlined.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. All right. So the next part I wanted to hit on here was the first question from the community. Top questions. How do I get my ADA on the testnet? So this November 29th, this crazy thing happened where you move it from the ledger to your dataless Yoroi. So let's pretend I'm just the average guy, right? And I want to stake my ADA. What do I do next? How do I get my ADA on the testnet?
So yeah, I mean, I'll take this if you guys don't mind. All you're really going to have to do is download a testnet wallet version of Daedalus or Daedalus, and I believe there's a Yoroi application as well. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so and then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take your seed phrase or your 12 seed words for an existing Cardano address on mainnet that had a balance at the time of snapshot, and then import that seed into your downloaded testnet wallet, and then your balances should match.
Okay, thanks.
And if you did not catch the snapshot, that train has sailed.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So if it wasn't there by November 29th, that's done, right? Okay.
Yeah,
that's
that's done.
I've seen that question come up a few times in Telegram. Thanks. Anything to add to that? Does anyone know what is that new ADDR address? So when I put my stuff in the balance check wallet, it recreated my wallet on the mainnet, right? They both exist in parallel. And then it says transfer to a rewards wallet, and there's a button that you got to click. What does that do?
So there is, so you know that the Cardano uses UTXO model, right, for transactions. Well, that doesn't really work with the rewards. So Cardano settlement layer also added an account type of addresses, which is the reward address, to which the rewards from staking will be paid, and it will be fixed address. As far as of now, only the protocol itself can make deposits to that account address, but there are discussions to make it open for general transactions, and then you could use it to receive different kind of tokens and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. That's why I got to click on that button to generate the rewards address. That's very important, right? Okay.
Yes.
Well, no
Yes.
address, no rewards.
Yeah. You got to have the address for the rewards to go to, which leads us to the next question from the community, and that is, how do I get my rewards, and when do I get them? How does that work? How do I get my rewards?
So should I take this one? Okay, I'll
for
take
it.
this one. Okay, so the rewards will be paid automatically by the protocol at the end of each epoch. So it should be every 5 days if the parameters for the testnet won't be modified. And there is nothing stake pool operator can do to influence the rewards payment itself. Only thing that the stake pool operators can do is to have different fees, which will be automatically deducted from the entire reward amount. So
Yeah, I want to jump in and just reiterate how critical and differentiating that feature is, having the rewards paid out automatically by the protocol, as to having the stake pool operators have some control over when and how rewards are paid out. That's a big difference, and that's going to guarantee that all the stakers are due their proper rewards, whereas some other competing protocols do not have that feature, and that's going to be a big deal.
it is a big deal, but it's also two-edged sword. It will, in effect, it will also disqualify some business models, because the current flexibility towards the fees and stuff like that is very fixed. If you have the control over the distribution, you can make different business models.
I agree. Yeah, as far as like potentially, we had discussed some business models offline, but they're, from a high level, maybe enabling your users to individually say if they want to dedicate a certain percentage of rewards to specific projects and whatnot. So yeah, I see that.
Yeah, but big part of the community is not going to do a thorough research into 1,000 different pools regarding their business model. They're gonna just pick the ones which will be, preferred in the Daedalus or Yoroi delegation centers. And these the ones who have different business models may be disqualified because of that notion. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at once again before we go to mainnet or shortly after the mainnet launch.
Okay, good points, guys. And this is really advanced, in-depth stuff. So we're going to do a more advanced episode next time.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Sure, as long as keep it simple for me.
Yeah, very simple. Epoch. I think they're adjusting the epoch length, and I think they was talking about 20 hours epochs for the incentivized testnet. So if it's 5 days or 20 hours, we will see.
Yeah, the epoch. And that was the next question. Eystein, thank you very much for leading us right into that. That was the first part of the question was, how do I get my rewards? And the second part is, when do I get them?
Right.
When do I get them? When do I get paid? I want my money right now. When do I get my money?
All right.
That's the easy answer.
So basically, Mark, you can take it.
Okay, so there are two ways to look at it, right? When do I get the testnet rewards that will be at some point debited to the mainnet, where I can actually take advantage of them and sell them, or give them to friends or use them for whatever I choose, and that's gonna happen after the end of the testnet era. And then there is the second part of the question: when do I get the testnet rewards, which will actually automatically add to my staking balance? So it will have a compounding interest effect, and that's gonna be either somewhere between 20 hours and 5 days.
All right.
Yes.
At the end of the epoch.
At the end of the epoch. Yeah.
So we'll keep track of the epoch length and what the dates the epochs end, and that's when you get them, right? Thank you for that answer, Mark. There is a two-part answer to that. What happens during testnet phase? What's going to happen on mainnet phase?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to get to the next question. Rick, I'm going to take this quickly. So just to remind the users and the viewers out there that the second snapshot happened on November 29th. So if you missed that snapshot, you're just going to have to wait until we hit Shelley mainnet staking, and then you'll be able to join the staking frenzy once that happens. But for those that were in a snapshot ready address in Yoroi or Daedalus, not on Ledger, you'll be able to access your testnet ADA, downloading the appropriate testnet download when that becomes available. So I'd like to ask the four of you a question. The next question is, which wallet should I use and why? And do each of you have a preference for wallet? Like, answer that question first, and then I want to hear what your preference is, whether you like Daedalus or Yoroi or some sort of tertiary wallet, like, I know Ada Lite has a wallet, and whatever services that you like. So,
Chris, you want to take a stab at this one?
Yeah, sure. I'm a Daedalus user, but I think Yoroi is equally good. At this point, I think they're indistinguishable. I think Yoroi is does Yoroi download the entire blockchain, or is it?
No, it's a light wallet, so it uses servers provided by Emurgo to query the blockchain.
Right. So that's the advantage of Yoroi.
I see.
Yep.
It's like MetaMask for Ethereum.
Right.
That's the vision anyway.
Sure. But I think there's no disadvantage in terms of quality of the code base. Both teams are equally solid. So as far as trust goes, either one's perfect.
I like Yoroi because it's easy, and I like Daedalus because of the widgets. I just like to poke around in Daedalus. It's just, I don't know why. I think it looks really cool when I boot it up too.
Yeah.
The animations are great.
I like to smash all the buttons and go, oh, I can restart the node. What does that do? Click. Whoa.
I like the request new feature button.
And now it has a news feed.
Yeah.
Okay, so Daedalus or Yoroi is the top picks there, and there are third-party wallets, but I'm not familiar with them. Any third-party wallets you guys would recommend? Or
I mean, I'm using Ledger when I'm storing, not when I'm storing, permanently, but I'm using that in conjunction with Yoroi or Adalite.
Right. But for the testnet, we couldn't use Ledger. We had to move it.
That's right.
Okay.
Sounds good. That sounds good. So I think we hammered out that question. I guess the next question is, I am confused about a balance wallet and rewards wallet. What is the differentiation between both the balance and the rewards wallet? And I believe people are referring to after the first snapshot in the beginning of November, there was a balance check where you could download a testnet and there was a balance wallet and you could create a rewards wallet. So if anyone wants to tell the users and the viewers exactly what the difference between these two wallets are and what they're going to be using each wallet for.
So I already tackled that one when I was explaining the difference between UTXO and account-based accounting models. So the balance wallet is the sum of all the non-spent UTXO inputs you have, outputs you have, and the account wallet is the one where you will receive your rewards from the staking.
Okay, so can I add to that question, basic or simplified? Is it right now I have a laptop and I got Daedalus on it with a balance check wallet. Am I going to have to download Daedalus again?
Yes, you will. And the ability to create the rewards wallet in the balance testnet wallet is a user experience mistake, in my opinion, on the IOHK side. That option shouldn't be there. It just confuses people.
Tell us how you feel, man.
The balance check wallet is retired now, isn't it?
It's what?
The balance check wallet is retired.
Well,
yeah, I opened it.
It became obsolete the second you checked your balance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so you got to download another one. What about Yoroi? I don't know what to do with that. Do I got to reinstall the Chrome extension or it's automatic?
I think there will be a separate Chrome extension for the testnet, but I cannot confirm that with 100% certainty.
And
so I think you will have to install additional extension to the browser.
So redo the extension and re-enter my passphrase.
Yes.
Okay.
Seed.
We'll check with Emergo and get confirmation on that because we need that. We'll put a link down below with an answer. Sound good? Does anybody know? I don't know for sure.
I haven't used it. Yeah, I'm a Daedalus guy.
Well,
I use both.
I use both as well, but I got the info from Emergo, but it's like month old, so the information may be obsolete, and they may have a change in strategy there.
I use Yoroi for like a small amounts, like on my mobile, the Yoroi app, and it auto updates now with a balance check through Google Play. I use Android, so I assume something like that will happen also now with incentivized testnet. But to be sure, this is something to check with Emergo.
Okay, if you have to reinstall the Google Chrome extension, but thank you for that, Eystein. That if you use the mobile app, it auto updates. Yeah. So, wow, brilliant, man! I learned something new. I'm gonna get the mobile app now.
Mm-hmm. Got me sold.
You are the Apple guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm stuck on stupid. All right, thanks guys for answering these questions. These are community-based questions, so we're helping people out there. Philippe, you want to hit the next one too? Which one?
Sure.
Is it?
Yes, sounds good. So the next question is, I mean, we have 4 stake pool operators. Well, 6 stake pool operators up here right now, and the question is, how do I choose a pool? So, what, in your opinion, should people be looking at in order to choose a pool? Why should they choose with you? And what are for the average user that's just looking to delegate their stake and just maybe set it and forget it? What are the metrics that they should be looking for? What are the red flags that they should be looking for?
Well, I mean, I think set and forget's a dangerous approach with anything. But if that's the case for the average user, what I would recommend doing is obviously you want to look at a pool's, reward percentage in contrast with the pool reliability. But probably for the most effective approach would be to split your ADA up into various addresses and pick a few pools to delegate with that have good reputations and payouts. And that would probably be the most appropriate set and forget strategy in my book.
Yeah, I mean, communication is really important too. If you wouldn't hand your money to some random person on the street and say, bring me the interest back, right? Mm-hmm. So, obviously reputation, low fees sound appealing, but what are you getting for that?
Get what you pay for.
Who's running the pool? What's their background? Are they going to communicate with you on a daily basis? Or are you going to get an email once a month? Because it doesn't seem sufficient to just check your rewards wallet every now and then, because it's not about what you got. It's about potentially maybe a slot that was missed or something, So, what sort of machine are they running? 4 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of RAM. I saw someone this morning that was trying to run a node with 1 gig of RAM or something, which is not going to work well.
I think it was a test.
Right.
It wasn't a test?
Yeah. I think I did actually when I first started a node. I thought let's see how low I can go. It's nope.
Well, I had the exact opposite strategy. When I first ran a node, it was running on 32 gigs of RAM VM. Now I'm running 1 in 2 gigs of RAM VM just for the testing, so I can report any memory leaks and stuff like that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, testing, I've been running 2 gigs of RAM. I have a very high interest in seeing this kind of functionality make its way into embedded. So, obviously through testnet, I want to see how low we can go reliably.
Nice. I just want to add one thing regarding delegating. It's a fairly safe feature because you're not really handing your money or the ADA. You are just delegating to the pool. The worst you risk is that you will have to wait the epoch to change.
That's right.
Yeah.
Unless you choose the set it and forget it strategy.
Exactly.
Right.
And I agree with Kylo. It's a great thing to look first for profit. Let's be honest. You want to earn money or ADA from this, and then look what can contribute to the ecosystem as well. Because you really, by delegating, you're contributing to growing the ecosystem. You're contributing to helping pool operators like us to develop the system.
Well,
right.
And also, go ahead.
So you said it's all about money, right? But you can look at it from 2 different perspectives. One is capital appreciation, and the second is operational income, right?
Yeah.
So by delegating to the pool that has the lowest fees, you will maximize your operational income in ADA, denominated in ADA. However, by choosing somebody who has some vision that can increase the value of the underlying asset, you can capitalize on the capital gains itself. So it's again two sides of one coin, and you shouldn't be you should look for the mid ground, not just for the people who are going to kill the market with the lowest fees possible.
Yeah, and to kind of reiterate on some of the things that Chris was saying in regards to reputation and as well as communication, pool operators, we can change our fee take, that take place within 2 epochs. And so set and forget, if you're if you've got a good pool that's not communicating well, they very well could change their fees, and you just don't even realize that if you're not paying attention to it. So I think that goes back to communication and reputation being a pretty decent criterion for pool selection.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's about trust, and it's about investing into the future. You can grow the value of your ADA also by helping contribute to the ecosystem.
Yeah. So maybe just to Kyle, so if that happens and you change your fee, the paper specifies that you should be notified of such change in the notification center of the Daedalus in case that the change of the fee lowers your rewards.
Oh, wow. Is that built in?
It's in the, well, I don't know if it's built-in functionality because obviously we didn't have the opportunity to test it, but it's in that paper from IOHK.
Okay, so it's spec'd. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
The design one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Interesting.
Out. And
capital appreciation versus operational income. I think that's a good topic to discuss. And Mark, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Maybe in a different. Yeah, maybe towards the end.
I think it's for a separate episode with maybe different people who have different views on that topic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
Definitely. Rick, you want to get the next question?
Yes, sir. Okay, the next two questions kind of flow together. The first one is, how does the annual % return work? And the second one is, what is a pool tax? So let's hit what is the % return, then what is a pool tax? Who wants to take on... What's a % return? What does that do for me?
Didn't I spoke too much already? But if not, I can take this one as well.
Well, Mark's quick on the pickup. Anyone else want to hit that first?
Maybe it's because I'm the third time here, you know.
You go.
So what's a %? Is it annual, weekly, epically, monthly?
So it's annualized. So the estimates are between 7 to 12% depending on the participation level on the testnet and on the mainnet later on. And it's annualized metric, so it's per year, per annum. I personally expect the testnet to run for about 6 months, although Charles said 3. So, divide the number 7 to 12 by 2, and that should be the amount you get rewarded for your staking before the pool taxes are deducted.
Okay. That leads us
Rick, I wanted to jump off of what Mark said and reference a tweet that you tweeted earlier, I believe earlier this week, saying that you prefer lower rewards because that indicates higher participation versus higher rewards and lower participation. So I'm going to pass the question off to you four. What do you think? What's your vision for what a successful testnet is? How much participation? And do you agree with Rick in saying that we want as many people participating as possible, and it doesn't matter if the rewards are low because more utility is off. It's obviously going to increase the price longer term. So, I mean, without giving financial advice or anything like that, what is your ideal metric for testnet participation, and what are your goals?
Can I put that in? Can I add to that? What I said in the tweet was, I would prefer 4% of 8-cent ADA than 8% of 4-cent ADA. That's the tweet Philippe's referring to. Do you guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
absolutely.
What's better?
I don't think that the participation of the testnet will have any significant impact on the price. So
I think it will set like a historical record for the future about how was the start of this incentivized test periods. But I agree with Mark, it's probably not going to move the price much. Again, not financial advice or something like that. But I think it's important because it's like us here now. We want more stake pool operators, or I want more stake pool operators. I want the system to be as decentralized as possible. I don't want Binance to have 3 servers and that's it. I want this to be spread out between people in different geographical locations and different people.
Let's put these questions in the context. Thank you, Eystein. Let's put these questions in the context of the mainnet, because the testnet, what the mainnet is a year from now is going to be a reflection of what the testnet is today, but just with more participation. So yeah, if you think about it, okay, what happens when we get to mainnet? You have more participating, more people staking or not staking because for whatever reason, right? And whatever happens on the testnet will also happen on the mainnet. So if on mainnet you have less people participating, less people pointing their stake to a pool and just leaving it idle, undelegated, that's going to cause an increase in the percentage, which will incentivize them to say, oh, wow, the percentage went up. I definitely want to make sure I click that button, right?
That's a great point.
The more people delegating, the less the rewards.
So the system is self-correcting. The less who are delegating or the less who are pool operators, the more they will be incentivized to have more pool operators, basically.
Okay, so what's your personal preferences, guys? Would you rather have 4% of 8-cent ADA or 8% of 4-cent ADA? Or is there no difference?
There isn't really a difference. The only thing that 8-cent ADA would do for me is that it would prevent me from buying more because I would be increasing my average buy price.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
I'm 100% comfortable with the current price of the tokens, to be honest.
yeah, I want to keep the price as low as possible just for my own personal greed, right? But I see where you're coming from the adoption standpoint. I think what it really comes down to is, yeah, we want user participation, but it's all about users. And when smart contracts come online, that's the real game. That's when everything opens up and the users will come on board and those users can stake as well. So I'm all about, getting as many people into the testnet as possible. But the work that you've been doing recently, Rick, with just pounding the testnet and breaking it, that's the most critical work in regards to that. Let's get something that's robust and reliable. And I think that's mission critical.
Yeah,
So,
I learned that from Mark.
So the tortoise will get to the goal faster than the hare because we will slow and steady wins the
That's
race.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the questions we're going to hit at the end is, what's the status of the test net? So we're going to make sure we hit on that, Kyle and Mark and Chris. We make sure we get into stuff. But thank you for that. And to tether on to Philippe, what Philippe was asking earlier is, what is a pool tax? Okay, people don't like the word tax. Oh, tax. What's a pool tax and what do you do with it? How does it affect the user? I'm the average guy. I'm getting taxed.
A small percentage of the rewards will go to the pool operators as a profit and as well as to fund the infrastructure costs of operating the pool.
And there are basically multiple types of taxes. So there is a fixed fee, and then there is a percentage of the rewards paid. And from the total amount of the rewards that should be paid to the delegates, the fixed fee or fixed tax is deducted from the overall pool. And if the fixed costs are larger than the amount to be distributed, then no rewards will be distributed towards the delegates.
Okay.
And you can set a limit how much you want, actually.
Yeah.
That's the third parameter.
You can also say, like, if my rewards would be more than, I don't know, 10,000 ADA per epoch, I don't want to collect any more taxes, and everything else gets distributed to the delegates. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Thank you. Now, I want to make sure I get this ultra clear because I was so confused about the tax thing and setting those parameters. And the only way I was able to figure it out is I didn't figure it out. Pryank told me this is how it works. So shout out to Pryank. I wish he would be on a podcast, but he's so busy helping other people and writing code between the two. He doesn't have any, I don't even know when the guy sleeps. So big shout out to you, Pryank. But I did not understand it until he spoon fed it to me. So you got the minimum, then you got the percent, and then you have a maximum, right? And typically what people would be paying is the tax that a user, I'm the regular user, the tax I'm going to pay is a percentage. Let's say it's 7%. So if I get 100 ADA rewards, 7 of those ADA goes to the pool operator and 93 ADA goes to me, right? And that's the typical, this is the tax rate. Then there's a minimum tax rate, right? So, and you might set it to, I don't know, 500,000 Lovelace. So when my pool creates a block, I'll get an absolute minimum of 500,000 or 0.5 of an ADA. I should use that. I get this minimum 0.5 of an ADA, but if it goes above that, then I'll get the percentage instead as the pool operator, right? Is that how it works, or did I get it?
Yeah, that's how it works.
And then the maximum is, if I say the maximum is 80, let's say 100 ADA per block is the absolute max, and my block gets paid.
You don't define the fees per block. You define them per epoch.
Yeah. Okay. So it's per epoch. There you go. I learned something new. Thank you, Mark. So when you define those parameters, that's per epoch.
Yes.
All right. I thought that was per block.
No, it's per epoch. Unless something really changed from this paper, then it's per epoch.
Well, you're probably right. I'm going to go with your answer.
Yeah, if it were per block, they'd be kind of extreme, I think.
I think it would still.
Well, it would first of all, it would be impossible to calculate any business model on top of it.
Yeah.
Because you don't have certainty in the creation of blocks, how often they're gonna occur and so on and so forth. But with Epoch, you at least have a fixed time frame to which you can use in your business modeling. And I suppose you all already used Excel very, very, very much in past 2 days since the parameters been released. At least I've been digged into the Excel for long.
All right, so the tax is per epoch. Okay, got it, Roger. So if my rewards as the delegator, I'm staking at your pool, and I get 100 ADA at the end of the epoch, and your tax is 7%, my cut is 93 ADA, your cut is 7, and that pays for operating the pool and keeping everything running.
Unless I have a fixed fee set as well, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the tax would be on top of the percentage.
Okay, it's on top of it.
Well, I guess that's what I'm asking Mark.
That was my understanding too.
The way it works.
Let me put it this way: if you set your fixed fee to 10,000 ADA per epoch, and your pool makes 9,999 ADA in an epoch, nobody gets paid anything. If it makes, if you have just one delegate and you earn 10,100. Then those 10,000 will be paid to the pool reward address, and that 100 will get taxed.
That's right. That's right. The fixed fee is deducted from the total pool rewards first, and then the taxation percentage is applied to the difference.
To the remaining amount, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I almost understand this.
Should I draw a diagram?
Yes. Chris, can you put this on your webpage thingy?
I need
put
to.
this on your GitHub.
Yes.
Nobody goes to GitHub. Only guys like you go to GitHub. Let's put that on a webpage somewhere. Philippe, can you do a video on that on the Philpa channel?
I can definitely do that.
Thanks, man. I totally get it better now. The fixed fee is what comes out. And
yeah, it's deducted from the overall.
Tax is on top of the fixed fee.
Yeah, and given that model, personally, I'm strongly leaning towards not having any fixed fee for the Adafrog pool, just to kind of approach that. Given that this isn't mining Bitcoin, right? We're running proof of stake nodes. It's low resources, so that's kind of where I'm leaning at this point, personally.
I'm going to do the exact opposite.
Yep, and just keep just remember, users are miners too. Like so, just a reminder that. Every person who delegates their stake is a miner. You are mining the coins, unlike, because we used to do proof of work. In proof of work mining, some guy has to run a powerful computer, but if you hold ADA, if you simply hold it, and you simply delegate it, you are performing the exact same work as a proof of work miner at milliwatts.
All right, everyone. We're going to also talk about saturation levels real quick before we get back to the community questions. So if anyone wanted to just jump in and explain what the saturation point is to the users, and it's a good number or metric for people who are actually delegating the stake pools to be interested in, because this is directly affecting your ADA rewards, especially if you're in an oversaturated pool. So if anyone wanted to jump in and just explain what the saturation point is or what saturation levels are, even though we don't have a fixed number of what that number is at the moment.
Well, I think, the purpose of a saturation limit or effect on a pool is to ensure that no single pool establishes, a higher level of control. And so what a saturation limit really is that the rewards of a pool are capped out at a certain point as the pool becomes saturated, or a threshold of stake is delegated to the pool. And that can affect revenue in a sense where it may make sense to say, for instance, if you're a very large stakeholder and you have stake delegated into a pool where a portion of that is below the saturation limit, it would be more profitable for you to take the remaining threshold and delegate to another pool that has not reached its saturation limit, and vice versa. If you're a small stakeholder delegated to a saturated pool, the overall pool rewards would be less than as if you were to put it into a pool that was not saturated. Now there's parameters there that these other guys can help explain it well as well, but that's probably my best job of explaining it.
Oh, the point of it is to prevent the 51% attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what it basically says is that you can't do it with a single pool unless you are the owner of the 50+1 ADA in circulation.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm the average guy, and I'm delegating to the pool, and it's saturated. Why do I care? So what?
Your returns
you
are
lose some
lower.
money.
Oh. What do I do?
Or delegate to somebody else.
Cool.
I think that's a good reason why it could be nice to have split up your amounts a bit, so you can switch between pools. I also believe that if you delegate and it's not yet saturated, you won't lose a profit that it later gets saturated. It's the next guy who delegates when it's saturated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an important thing about it also.
Is that how it works? Is that true?
I've tried to read up on it. I believe it is, but I'm not 100% sure. But that's very important to know.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be the case, because if you think about it, yeah, you've got the rewards are paid out total, and then it's taxed and split evenly among all the stakeholders. So even if you've got some stake that was in there ahead of time, if someone else delegates and saturates the pool, the overall total rewards will be less. And I believe that's going to be split up proportionally based on stake. And that has nothing to do with the equation of when the stake was delegated.
But is it not distributed from who delegated?
I believe Kyle is correct. And that's one of the reservations I have towards the design of the protocol. Because you can't make these rules with the current design.
Okay.
If you look at the competing platforms where the stake pool operators are responsible for the payouts, they have saturation limits as well, but based on different metrics. But that doesn't matter. But they have a clear. They decided for themselves how they're gonna handle over delegation. In Cardano, you don't have that option. So you can have an attacker with large stake who just wants to attack your pool and doesn't care about the lost revenue, and he will delegate large amount of ADA to your pool, incentivizing all the smaller stakeholders to redelegate somewhere else.
And then he
to his own pool.
And then he redelegates after the fact. Yeah. That's interesting. That might be something to push upstream.
Well, that's something that's going to be tested on the testnet.
That's actually a really interesting discussion we had right now about this. I learned. That's good.
Okay. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Sorry about that. So speaking about saturation points, and we're talking about 51% attacks briefly, this leads me into the next question for all four of you. So people have the option of delegating to whoever stake pool that they want. We have 6 pool operators here, but there are going to be more pool operators, and it's up to you who you want to delegate to. But I'm not sure if we're in consensus here, but there's also this idea of competing with exchanges. So we're going to talk a little bit about Binance right now. So if you go on the Cardano rich list, you know that IOHK has the largest wallet, or they may be competing with Binance. It oscillates. So IOHK, Emergo, and the Cardano Foundation, as well as some other undisclosed whales, have extremely large amounts, which, of course, since there's a saturation level, it doesn't let them control the ecosystem as much. So people who are leaving their ADA on exchanges like Binance, and we're probably forecasting for mainnet Shelley staking, because this is not going to happen now.
Sure.
But exchange staking is going to happen at some point, even if ADA gets added to Coinbase, Coinbase is probably going to have some sort of custodial solution where they're paying out people's rewards as well. I know for Tezos just got added to Coinbase, and they take a 25% fee before they pay out the rewards for the users.
It's been reduced to 20, just for
was reduced to 20?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yes. But people are going to have the option to delegate to Binance or delegate to large players. So why should they choose us? Why should they choose you? Why should they choose the small stake pool versus the conglomerate or the centralized exchange that has more money than everyone combined?
Sure. Well, I think the saturation limit's going to take care of it. If you think about it, an exchange is going to have a far. You don't think so?
You just operate multiple pools.
Exactly.
Like
I see.
That's what IOHK is going to do. They're gonna split their balance, make multiple pledges to multiple pools, and basically performing a Sybil attack, which in their paper they're trying to prevent by making
that's why staking is such a saturation point is such an important topic. That's why I tried to read up on it, but I think I had it wrong. Then I thought it would automatically, when you're saturated, the next one will.
So to backtrack on that, I think really the answer is maybe as smaller or individual stake pool or independent stake pool operators. I think is a good phrase. Maybe. Education, and we push it around, not your keys, not your coins,
that's gonna work for Binance, because Binance is offering currently 0% fee on Tezos staking, right? But it's subject to having the coins in their address. But with Coinbase, you can delegate to their proof of staking as a service even from your own wallet. And then you own the keys. They just own the baking rights or the staking, minting rights, whatever you want to call it.
I wouldn't store anything on Binance because they've been hacked twice this year.
But they always covered the losses.
It doesn't matter. They don't pay for those losses. The people who use Binance, they pay for the losses. Don't believe that stuff when they say corporate pays for it. Corporate doesn't pay for it. You pay for the people who use it. They pay for it. It's true.
Let me go back to something Mark said earlier about how to appreciate the value of ADA. If you delegate only to Binance, you're not going to grow the ecosystem as much, I believe. And that's one important reason why you should delegate to other smaller staking pools. It's exactly that, to grow the value, grow the ecosystem. So it's not a selflessness act. It's also a selfish act in that you can earn more profit from it by growing the system.
Yeah, to kind of follow on that, the Adafrog pool, we're taking our profits and putting them into the Doja project, and that's what I run. I started this to basically, tokenize on Cardano, and because that got pushed out so far along, I got involved in the stake pools, and that's we're here for the whole push, and so maybe that's another aspect to look at are the pool operators, how they're using the funds and that kind of aspect, and how they're going to grow the community, because that's what really matters. Users. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, and just going with the big guys, not.
Well,
that's not decentralized.
It depends on your personal view. If you want the blockchain to be a centralized piece of distributed database, go for it and delegate to big players, but then don't complain that they behave the same way Chase, HSBC, and other big guys in a room behave.
Excellent, Mark. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could also have the conversation looking 5-10 years out. All those coins on Binance, are they still going to be around? What's going to be the value of an exchange like that?
Yeah. What's the history of these exchanges when it comes to losses of currency? We have a track record now already, many of these exchanges. I'm just saying.
10 in 2019. 10 exchanges have been hacked.
Exactly.
10 hacks.
Well, there are now speculations that some of them may be just a tax fraud.
With that said, I used Binance to buy ADA, and I have nothing against Binance. I just want the community as decentralized as possible.
Well, I just decided that I will move out of Binance when they introduce the dumping pricing, and I already looked at Kraken, and they list both Tezos and ADA, so I'm gonna use that.
It's interesting about Binance. we all have a preconceived notion about what a for-profit corporation is and does, but Binance is in China, and
no, they are not. They are registered in Malta. And what they are doing with the zero fees, I will monitor the marketplace. And if they get too big of a share, I will be filing as a European citizen complaint with the European Commission and have the antitrust organization of the European Commission to do an investigation into that.
I don't know that
They are registered in Malta.
Well, yeah.
Which is a European Union state.
Right. However, where are they physically?
It doesn't matter. They have a big operation in Malta because they need it for the tax purposes and everything. It doesn't matter where the CEO is, but majority of their employees in the back office sit in Malta offices.
I thought they partitioned it where there's a big chunk of Binance's in Shanghai. They made a Binance USA because, look, now we're giving Binance shout-outs on the Cardano effect. They had to make a USA component separate, and so it's probably partitioned out. So regardless of the politics or how they structured the corporation, it's still probably a good idea to use, trade on there and then delegate to someone else. Can we agree on that?
Trade wherever you want and don't delegate to Binance. That's what I can agree on.
I like that better.
There you go. That's what I can agree on.
Okay.
But we could.
I consider Binance a Chinese exchange. I'm with Chris. What he was about to say. Even if they have offices in Malta, if you have a few employees in China, it could still,
I think the market
happen.
view is good. Delegate where you want, but don't complain when there's a cause of what you do. So.
I like the fact that Mark threatened him. That's cool, man.
Yeah, I was like,
Bad. You're awesome, dude. Go get him, killer.
You've heard of GDPR. Do you know how many subject access requests I filed over the past year?
Oh, God. Tell us.
My lawyer loves me.
I'm sure.
Oh, man.
Philippe, at the end of the day, I want to let everyone know that there's 6 guys here right now. It is Saturday. There's no Binance employees right now on the Cardano Effect podcast. It's us that are taking the time to get involved with this project, us that are spending quality time away from friends and family and just we're friends here, but you understand, outside of crypto. And we are the ones that are sitting here and taking the information in our head and spitting it back out and trying to help as many people as possible. So this is the community right here. This is a slice of the community. And if you really want to support the community, you support your local small business staking pool. You don't support the giant.
And we're friendly
It's going to
competitors.
come when it's time to make some money.
And behind the scenes, we're a group of guys that are just grueling to make this work. We're bringing up other pool operators that have interest in this, and there's a lot of unpaid hours that are going into ensuring the strength and solidity and viability of the protocol.
Yes, I agree. And I think that's a perfect segue into the next question, because you just said all these unpaid hours, which is we're doing it out of love for the project, love the project moving forward, see a potential future for this project. But one of the questions is about the business plans of your stake pool. And you can go into detail into this, or you can just be, you don't really have to go in detail. But I mean, if you don't want to talk about the business plans of your staking pool, maybe a better phrased question would be to talk about a little bit about the economics behind the staking pool and what kind of strategy you're looking forward to. I mean, this whole idea of, Mark and I briefly spoke the other day about this, the race to the bottom, and maybe we can start there and see how see where the conversation goes. Does anyone want to? We can make a popcorn round here. I mean,
I can maybe start with my philosophy. Like I said, I run a project that's gearing towards tokenization on Cardano. So the running a stake pool is important in that sense, because the success of Cardano is extremely important to some of the things that I want to do in that realm. And so from a stake pool perspective, 17 to 25 million target saturation for a pool isn't a whole lot of stake. So, my background, I've sold for Intel and ran an ad tech initiative. So achieving that, I don't see that's going to be too difficult. But I want to look at it from the perspective of, okay, for this to be successful, all of you other operators have to be successful as well. So, you know, if I come across a solution or a tactic that helps me achieve saturation or close to that point, I'd like to also help you guys get there as well, you know, and that's kind of my perspective, because yes, in a sense, the pools are competitive, but in regards to the initiative and a high level for how this works for humanity, it's important for all of us to succeed.
Yeah, so I jump in now. So as I said, I did a lot of financial modeling since the release 2 days ago. And basically, I also said that I will be charging the minimal fee. Well, the amount of minimal fee is actually a salary of a Haskell developer in the city where I currently am located.
Oh.
So the point is to hire a Haskell developer who can contribute to the Cardano code base.
Wow, that's a good idea.
Very
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I'm focused on, you know, sort of, if I had a mission for my stake pool, it would be to earn the trust of the community. You know, again, I believe everyone should be able to run their own pool if they have the drive to learn how to do it. So I'm not going to run 50 nodes right out of the gate. You know, if I can earn the trust of, you know, a few million ADA users, whatever, you know, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it through education. My thought for the testnet is to keep fees lower. I think economics will hold no matter what. It's not, I think you can't be too, you know, ivory tower about, you know, like race to the bottom, you know, economics are economics. It's just going to work out the way it does. So my view is, you know, lower fees for the testnet and, you know, mainnet, you know, let's see what the market dictates.
Right.
So that's the idea.
Well, I think the incentive model will change for the mainnet, and it will be tested on the testnet. And I think that the pledge of the pool operator will play a more important role in the future.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's important to have a solid pledge yourself. For me, it's slow and steady wins the race. I will pledge my own ARA to my own pool, and gradually over time, I hope to earn the trust of the community by showing I'm reliable, putting my information on the website. This is my server. This is my local hardware. You can know about me. I'm here on this Cardano effect. You can see me. I'm trying to build the trust, and I hope to make a model also that others will join, because I want more pool operators. And that's why I'm loving the work of Chris, Mark, and how they are contributing, helping out. And it's fantastic to see on the testnet, on the Telegram. They're putting in these late hours, and they're definitely not earning on this. So I hope to have that we pool operators have a profit. I'm planning on 5% myself, a fixed percentage cut only. And hopefully I will not race to the bottom unless Binance or something like that, because I don't, nothing against Binance, they're a great service, but I don't want our community to be so centralized.
Yeah, I second that.
Yeah.
I third
Rick,
that.
what about you? I want to hear from you.
Oh, my business model? I'm
Yeah,
good.
like what do you think about what everyone is saying?
Oh, I love what I'm learning here from everybody. And my plan was kind of simple. I'm like, okay, just keep my server running as much as possible. Make sure everybody knows how it works. Keep everything as absolutely simple as possible. And I'm just going to start. I'm going to start at 8% and say, okay, I'm going to on the testnet and say, okay, here's 8, and then find out what happens, and then adjust down from there. So my thing was start higher and then tweak it down, because then you won't piss people off.
How
But if you
about
start low and you go up,
adjusting
then
up?
you're going to make people mad.
Well, that could be, if you think about it, Rick, it might work inversely. If you're getting more and more stakers to your pool, the rewards will go up, correct? Your pool will become more popular. provide more blocks in that sense.
The pool fee is
sloppy.
also the pool fee is also one of the mechanisms how you can prevent over delegation, right? When you see you are hitting that ceiling of whatever the magic number is, you increase your fees by 1%, and you demotivate some people from delegating to you further, or you motivate some people to redelegate later on. You just pray that it won't be the whales, it will be the small fishes.
Yeah. You know, Mark, there was another plan I was thinking of too, and that plan was, I was thinking I'll mirror the APR. So whatever the APR is, I mirror it. And if there's more participation and the APR goes up, then I would take the pool and it would come up. And if the APR goes down, bring the pool down. And that way it would kind of ebb and flow along with the level of participation.
So it wouldn't be
that's
APR.
Another thought. I was thinking about doing that. Yeah, but I don't know how to do it.
It would be internal rate of return. First of all, it's a financial metric, and second of all, you can do it once per epoch, and you always need to pay for the new certificate. It's gonna cost you lots of your rewards, and with the higher participation, the rewards go down. They don't go up. They go down.
And I looked at that certificate fee. I don't know how much it's going to be on mainnet, but now that we're starting to use more realistic numbers on testnet, it's probably going to be a lot.
It's going to be 500 ADA for the testnet, I believe.
Can I have one question about the saturation point? Because I think it's important in this context. So if I understand this correctly now, you don't really want oversaturated pools, because that's opens you up for, you're more centralized, right? So we don't want that. It's part of the spreading out and trying to avoid the 51%.
Your stakers don't want that either.
And they will have less profit. But so if I understand correctly now, when you get to a saturation point, there's no currently no way to adjust that. If you're not the pool operator yourself, you will adjust your pool percentage, and probably someone will not delegate to you if you have a higher. So it will kind of become a self-adjusting system. If I'm starting to think now, what's your thinking about that?
Well, what Rick wanted to do, you can do that, and you can also implement the capability to prevent overdelegation by using your own game theory assumptions on how will the people behave as my fees will evolve over time.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think now.
You can script it out, and if you monitor the blockchain and the rewards paid out using, now we have the JAnalyze tool, but there will be more tools coming, of course. You can have a delegation certificate created every epoch with different fees, and have a fully fluent system. And probably with the arrival of smart contracts, I'm not saying it will be possible right after it, but it will probably evolve that you will be able to create a smart contract that controls your stake pool fees and have it adjust in real time.
Well, yeah.
That's my punchline. Can I just say one last thing about this? Because I'm from psychology background, and this is social theory as well. It's such a robust system, because when it's not in the code that the saturation will be fixed automatically, we as the pool operator starts to adjust ourselves to it. So it's a really robust system.
I think best practices will emerge too. I think we can predict a lot how we're going to do this, but I think as we move forward, real use cases, real scenarios are going to be presented, and we'll adapt accordingly based on that at the time.
I agree with you. I have an old saying: the only way to learn how to do stuff is by doing stuff. Nobody ever learned how to do stuff by thinking.
Absolutely.
The only thing thinking does is you learn how to think. The only way to learn how to do stuff is do stuff.
Those that can do.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got to do it. We got to do it and find out. We got to just bang our heads into the wall until the wall loses.
Perfect. Rick, we're in our last, we hit that hour mark, so I want to respect everyone's time here. We have a few more questions. What about if we do a rapid fire round, Rick, for the last 4 or 5 questions? Because we hit the first 15, and we hit the last 5. Just do a quick rapid round, short answers, and we'll be done pretty soon.
Go for it, brother.
Okay, so first question is, how is the testnet going? What's your opinion of how it's going?
Hectic, but
Amazing.
awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Awesome every time Rick doesn't break it.
Okay.
yeah, as a seasoned developer, multidisciplined engineer who builds projects, I think that it's amazing. It's extremely transparent, so that's somewhat distasteful for some, but from what I can see, I'm impressed with every step. There's a couple setbacks here and there, but they're pretty wiped out as we move along, so I'm very satisfied with the progress.
We've been banging on this testnet for what, 3 weeks now?
Since September 28th, I think. Well, the network testnet, which somehow magically became the incentivized testnet somewhere in the past couple days.
Right.
But yeah, like the network version, like as a team, was late September, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was late September.
God.
Not a
It's
day has
so
gone
good
by
now.
without an update, and it's so much better. The bandwidth usage, the RAM usage, no RAM, the leakage is not there. It's just some good improvement over so short time.
It's
Yeah, I think
extremely encouraging.
Nicholas is doing a great job.
Oh yeah. Oh, I wish they could be here. Nicholas and Sam. Sam's been on before.
Yeah, you need to get those on the
Wow.
show, and just say thank them for the great work they have done.
We do. Let's do that right now. Thank you, Sam and Nicholas. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Tell them, guys.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
It's awesome.
It's been incredible. It's been an incredible journey up to this point, and there's still a lot of work ahead, but wow, is the software running well. It's impressive. It's impressive. It's not indestructible, but daggum, it is freaking tough as nails.
It's getting there.
On the other hand, look at how many new, breaking changes we had over the past 3 weeks. There will be breaking changes and new genesis probably on the incentivized testnet as well, and that's gonna be a challenge. It may even require people to, log into the new version of Daedalus, redelegate to new pools, stake pool operators to register again on the chain. It depends on how the new genesis will be generated and what the information will be preserved from the previous version of the chain to the new version. But the incentivized testnet will probably not happen without the breaking change.
That's fine. In my experience, the more we break something, the better it's going to be.
Well,
Stronger it
definitely-
gets.
It's definitely gonna push out the weak fish who don't have the guts to run it on the mainnet. So it's also good as a quality metric for the operators.
It is. It's been punished, and so have we.
By the way, you will have to generate a new set of keys every 6 months, right? For your pool.
I didn't know.
Is that true?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Unless you script it and keep the keys off online, the master key.
Oh God. Okay, that's going to be an advanced podcast.
Yeah.
That'll be the, we're gonna Mark. We're gonna come back to that on the super advanced podcast.
We could do a reading podcast. It has 54 pages, so we can just read it.
Do a podcast where we suck your brain out and just lay it out on.
We're trying to bring people in, Mark, not push them away.
Yeah, keep it simple. When mass adoption, when people understand how it works.
But people like Mark, Chris, you guys, all the knowledge, people like me, I'm learning a lot from that. And we'll see, I think slow and steady wins the race, as I said earlier. We'll see more and more of us pool operators learning these things. So
Yeah.
it's good.
So much for rapid fire. We blew it. Philippe, get us rolling, buddy.
All right.
We blew
Next
it, man.
question. Going off of what Mark was saying, when mainnet? So when do you guys think mainnet's going to happen? How long is the testnet going to take place?
Q2 2020.
Q2. Okay.
Pretty solid estimate.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
like
would agree.
Early
Mark, you
Q3. I think it's gonna be announced at the end of the second quarter, and it will be launched at the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Okay. So sometime summer months maybe, or at the end of summer. Okay. Rick, you get the last couple of questions.
Okay, what were major accomplishments in the last month on the testnet itself? Any major accomplishments? What stands out in your mind?
Everything.
Either your
Everything.
accomplishment or the test.
In the beginning, it was so broken, and now it's so less broken.
The rapid fire iterations, the repo pushes, you know, I think I've seen maybe 1 or 2 pushes that were slight step backwards, but you see that in the sum of what, 100 different RCXs that have gone up that we've all just been banging through to get going. It's impressive. There's so many different levels of improvement.
Also the ecosystem, all the helper script, all the guides, everything around it's growing.
Yeah, Chris, thank you. Some of the stuff you've done has been awesome. That's helped me personally learn. So,
Yeah, thanks. That's been really neat for me, is seeing people that I haven't even communicated with say, you know, I'm up and running, you know, didn't even have to ask for clarification on anything. So that was a cool success for me.
Awesome. That's good to hear. And that's all I have for you guys. And I so much appreciate you coming on the podcast and providing your expertise to the community. And as more community questions come up, I will keep track of them, get them written down, and get them out here. And we're almost done with our series of our basic podcasts of getting people to getting their questions answered, getting people's questions answered. So thank you so much for coming on here. And Philippe, that's all I have from the list of questions. What do you think, buddy?
Okay. That sounds good. Okay, so I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Kyle, Chris, Eystein, and Mark for joining us today. We really appreciate you. And for all the viewers and all the listeners out there, if you're listening to us on the audio streams or you're watching us on YouTube, consider delegating to one of these guys. I mean, they have great operations, great pools. They've been putting their time in. Show your support. They're reachable. All their information is going to be down below. We'll put their handles on Twitter. If they're not on Twitter, we'll give you some way to access their pool. And once again, the pool, this episode is supposed to be released on Tuesday, so it should be Tuesday that I'm speaking to you. And staking should either be implemented very soon, or the ball should already start rolling. So figure out what you're going to do, which pools you're going to delegate to. If you have multiple wallets, try multiple pools. And with that being said, I just wanted to say, do any of you want to have any last words for the viewers and listeners of the Cardano Effect podcast? We appreciate you having you on. Kyle, Chris, Mark, Eystein, do you have any last words?
Oh, well, maybe regarding security, when you go to the testnet, just create a new testnet wallet and move your testnet ADA from the old seed to the new seed. Because you will probably have to use that seed multiple times over, and I don't know what kind of inheritance strategies and so on you have. But for me, changing the master seed for Daedalus and Yoroi, because I use both wallets, would be financially and the time consuming nightmare. So what I'm gonna do is that when the testnet Daedalus comes out, I'm gonna create a new wallet. I'm gonna use the seed from the mainnet wallet, and I'm gonna move the ADA from the mainnet wallet to the testnet wallet, which I'm gonna have somewhere close by, so I can change anything if need be.
Okay.
I'll just add, have fun delegating. We're a historic moment, and listen to Cardano Effect. You will get all the info.
Yeah, all I want to say is that it's been a long time coming, the development, and the Cardano holders are, in my personal opinion, in the right. This is the protocol. If you look technically, if you have a technical background, our community is extremely technical. The guys that are involved in this, and from what I've seen, like I said, my background, I sold for Intel for a long time, and I was out in the world and looking at a lot of different types of projects. And the one thing I got an eye for is technical competence, and execution is now aligned with that. And you're right, this is historic. And so I'm just humbled to be a part of it.
Well, thank you, Kyle. Chris, anything else for the viewers? Farewell.
I just want to add, thank you to Charles and IOHK, and thank all of you for being leaders of the community. And 2020 is going to be a great year.
Well, there is now a poll on Twitter going on who from the smart contract platforms will be a hit in 2020. EOS and Cardano are like winning. I don't know what kind of crypto magazine published it, but
are we going to talk about Charles's fight?
Oh,
There were two questions. All right, Philippe, let's hit
it's
that.
one of the questions, yeah.
I was trying to avoid
What the
that.
Okay, sorry,
Okay.
my bad.
All right, no, let's hit it. Charles versus Chico, who wins? Charles versus Chico, who wins?
Well, you can't give Chico brain damage twice.
That's a good point.
Both wins the PR.
Yes.
Oh,
My
nice.
answer is, who's Chico?
Yeah, there you go.
I actually Googled
Some guy
it.
who points and laughs and.
He has a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, he doesn't.
I haven't seen a single video, but I looked him up today because I was expecting it as a question, and I found some YouTube channel.
That's why I didn't want to bring it up.
As long as Charles
Get
says
more views. It's like watching a train wreck.
Well, but Charles in his MMA, he said that he has boxing experience. So.
Okay, good. I'm just
Oh, wow.
worried we don't want him injured or something. So yeah.
All right.
Oh, he's going to Antarctica to climb a mountain. We don't need to worry.
Right.
So,
Yeah, he's
so who's-
training in parallel.
Who's gonna be the new CEO after Charles doesn't return?
Oh God.
Jeremy's gonna have to find a new partner.
There you go. Volunteers.
All right, I think that's good. We'll leave it on that. And all right, this was episode 64 of the Cardano Effect podcast. And until the next podcast, everyone, we'll see you later. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.